This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Vince McMahon Sr. certainly is a legend as far as our sport is concerned.
You came to me in a dream last night.
Welcome to WrestleMania!
You were standing in a brilliant light.
This is brought 68,000 into the sky.
1 minute here, but the next you were gone. I thought you could stay, but I was so wrong.
This is the most serious threat World Wrestling Federation has ever known.
The end is here.
If we don't pull it together, I will see all of you in hell.
The game is over.
There is no next year. There is no tomorrow.
No more pretending.
Shane and I just couldn't wait for you to die.
The World Wrestling Federation will wipe the alliance off the face of this earth.
The end is here.
Vince McMahon will see the WWF die. WWF superstar is going to deny us from our destiny. The sports entertainment will take dead. Get a W.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another episode of Nation Invasion. I am your host, James Gruenberg, and tonight we are covering the Raw from November 12th, 2001, and SmackDown November 15th, 2001. We are a week away from Survivor Series, where it is winner take all at Survivor Series. One company will stay in business and the other will go belly up and go out of business forever. Tensions are running high between both teams as can The Rock and Chris Jericho get along as Team WWF heads into Survivor Series? And can the Alliance trust Stone Cold Steve Austin? As Taz remind us, DTA now stands for Don't Trust Austin. But before we deep dive into both of these episodes here right before Survivor Series, let me introduce my guest. He is Mr. Jeremy Nichols. Jeremy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. I got my dishes done, my laundry done, and now I'm ready to talk some wrestling.
Yeah, I got my dishes done too right before this record here.
Jeremy, what'd you have
ahead.
for dinner tonight?
I had pizza. Yeah, I ordered a white pizza tonight.
Oh, there you go. I had pork chops and steak fries.
Nice.
Good. Yeah. Shake and bake all the way, baby.
Nice. So Jeremy, last week on SmackDown, Stone Cold Steve Austin called the Alliance to his ring, as he likes to say, his ring, and he was asking everybody if they trusted him. Now, they all said yes, they do trust him, but Taz decided to come in and finally stick up for himself and say DTA now stands for Don't Trust Austin. And then the Alliance leaves Austin, but then at the end of the night, Stone Cold gave a stunner to Kurt Angle, too.
Yeah, dissensions running through the ranks here, and Taz, I like that Taz finally has stood up for himself, you know. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but I like that he's finally doing it. Somebody's stepping up to the plate and saying, hey, Austin, you know, you're kind of losing it here, and, you know, the Survivor Series is a big deal, and like now we feel like we can't trust you. And then, of course, he stuns Angle, and they lost that match. Kurt Angle and Steve Austin lost that match to The Undertaker 2-on-1, which they should have easily been able to beat him. So we got a lot going on heading into the Survivor Series. Everything's like ramping up here.
Yeah, we're going to get some maybe one scathing, like, great promo and one not so good promo from commissioner people, as they say.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Foley, because he's been like he was at WWF New York that one week, and he was, he's not very happy right now with his job and what's going on. So it'll be interesting to see what him and Regal come up with as we head into Survivor Series here.
Yeah, and also Jeremy, I made to make mention of this. So when we were doing these Raws and SmackDowns, all of the content of Monday Night Raw went to Netflix. However, the library is not up on Netflix completely, and there's still like shows on Peacock as well. So it was easy to find the SmackDowns. So for this Raw, especially the main event segment, I thought we were going to get the original showing of this, but however, there's no singing involved, and apparently it is the Peacock version just on this website that we got on here.
Yeah, it's a shame too, because I believe I mentioned it the last episode we did that it's one of my all-time favorite ending segments to Raw. I mean, it's incredible. Now, you can find it on YouTube. It is available, and it's absolutely worth watching. Obviously, we'll cover it later on, but it's absolutely worth watching. And
yep.
It's a shame that Peacock and Netflix both don't have Raw, but at least they still had SmackDown. That was helpful. But definitely, anyone that wants to watch Raw right now, that can't find it, make sure you just get on a boat and head to the Bay. You'll find plenty of options for getting a hold of Raw.
Yeah. So let's deep dive into this Monday Night Raw. It is November 12th, 2001. We're live in Boston. We have a recap of last Thursday night SmackDown and Taz saying don't trust Austin. And then we go right into Kurt Angle coming to the ring. Kurt makes fun of the Red Sox. Kurt says the Alliance better win on Sunday. Kurt says that there is no next week, there is no tomorrow, and if they lose at Survivor Series, it's over. When he says there is no next week, that would be in like the opening promos too for our intro here too. So a very powerful line by Kurt Angle here.
The line he says there is no tomorrow reminds me of Rocky 3. When Apollo Creed is talking to Rocky, he's like, there is no tomorrow. And that just echoes in Rocky's mind. And that's what it reminded me of when I watched this again. I'm like, God, man, they're both great lines. There's no next week. There is no tomorrow. This is what's important. It just ramps up it makes it more, it makes it like bigger, right? Then obviously it's big, but this just adds some sizzle to it. It's great lines.
Yeah, and like he was also saying, like the Red Sox, they can come back next year. And then he's like, well, there is no next year and all this stuff too. So like you said, great lines by Kurt. Kurt then calls out Austin for an apology, but Edge comes out instead. Edge calls Kurt a selfish bastard, says Kurt had all the support from the WWF and fans. But then he also calls Kurt Angle a coward. Edge challenges Kurt to a match for the United States title right now, and Kurt Angle accepts. And then you see Brian Hebner getting in the ring right away, Jeremy.
I like that we're seeing Edge stepping up now, right? Like he went out on his own, and he's dealt with Christian, and he's been dealing with Test. And now he's stepping up to the plate and challenging main eventers. And it's good. It's a great, it's fresh and it feels good. I think Angle he's like not thinking straight here, accepting the challenge, but we'll see here, won't we?
Yep. So now we have, like I said, it's United's WCW US title match. It's Kurt Angle versus Edge. Drop kick by Edge. Kurt mat wrestles Edge. Hip toss by Edge. Dropped toe hold and a monkey flip to Kurt. Bulldog by Edge. Belly to belly to Edge. Onto the outside. Kurt stomps on Edge. Fireman's carry by Kurt. Sleeper hold to Edge. Belly to belly by Kurt. Angle misses the moonsault. Clotheslines and an enziguri to Kurt. Neckbreaker by Edge for a 2 count. Angle slam to Edge, and then he goes to the ankle lock. Kane's pyro hits and his music starts to play, but Kane doesn't come out, but Angle is distracted. And then Edge sets up Angle for a spear, and he pins him for the win. So, Jeremy, we have a new United States champion, and it's Edge. And for the match, I went 2 stars. Good technical wrestling by both guys here.
I went 2.5. I like that. You're right. Technical wrestling. I didn't like I understood the Kane thing, and I call it Gaga, so I always kind of take away. But this match, I thought was real for a TV opener match, was really great. The action didn't slow down. I was never bored. And this was good stuff, and we get a new champion as well. It's nice to see Edge not only stepping up, but he won, and he won with his finisher as well, which is, I kind of expected a roll up or like something like a cradle, but I like that he hit the spear and got the win. Like, that's good. That's putting Edge over here.
Mm-hmm. So now Edge is the WCW United States champion. Keep that in mind for when we get to Foley's promo, Jeremy.
Yeah, I kind of, when I watched this, I went, he won the title, and I thought something's brewing here, right? Because they wouldn't do a title change this close if something wasn't going to happen, at some point here with this belt. But and I do want to remind people, this is one of my all-time favorite belt designs. I love the WCW United States title. It's fantastic.
I do too. Yeah, it's a very good design here. So then Kane sneaks up on Kurt and puts Kurt in the ankle lock himself. Kane chokeslams Tommy Dreamer and Steven Richards to end this segment here.
I like that. Not only is Kane back, but he's showing that he's more dangerous than ever. He's taken out 3 guys. He's ready for the pay-per-view. That's good. It also shows the Alliance, again, is in more trouble now, because not only is Kane back, but he's pissed, right? And he's going to take it to these guys.
Yep. Michael Cole is then backstage interviewing Taz. Taz says he has taken abuse from Stone Cold for 4 months. He wants to fight Stone Cold because Taz has nothing to lose.
I thought this was a good promo by Taz, because to me, he finally started to sound and look like the badass he was, like when he first came in. Like, we was still at the end of ECW, and he first came in. Like I felt like, okay, now we're getting the Taz that we should have had this entire time. And it's not just him trying to bully somebody. It's him, throwing down the gauntlet to Austin.
Yeah, so Taz tonight is going to challenge Stone Cold because Taz has nothing to lose. It's going to be great.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You might as well go for it,
Yep, and he's really taking a shot here. So now we have a WWF Tag Team Titles match. It's the WWF Tag Team Champions Booker T and Test, who are in the Alliance, and they are facing the WWF's Hardy Boys here. So Alliance members have the WWF Tag Team Champions. Double elbows to Jeff, sidekick to Jeff, gut wrench powerbomb by Test, tag to Matt and Booker, tornado DDT to Test, diving leg drop to Booker, twist of fate, and a swanton to Booker, big boot to Jeff by Test, Lita Hurricanrana's Booker, and Jeff rolls up Booker for the win. So now the WWF is on a roll as we have new WWF Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boys. For this match, again, I went 2 stars.
I went 2.5 out of 5. I thought it was a good match. Big win for the Hardys, and they needed it heading into the Survivor Series. Gives Team WWF momentum, like you said. I'm starting to think that I may rename this tag title the Hot Potato title, because, man, it's been hard to keep up with how many times they've switched the WCW and WWF tag belts. It's like 1 week from, every week it seems like we get new tag champions, which is either a good thing because it means everybody's competing hard for them, right? And not going, put in the work to get them. And also maybe a bad thing because the champions can't seem to hold on to it for more than a few days. But I thought this was pretty good. I I like that there's a little bit of dissension between Matt and Jeff, because Matt didn't look happy that Jeff got the pin. I mean, he's happy because he got the belts, but he didn't look happy because Jeff got the pin, and it seems like he wanted it, and we've been seeing some issues with Matt Hardy in the last couple of weeks on Raw and SmackDown, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yes, we have, and especially with his relationship with Lita.
Mm-hmm.
But again, now we have WWF superstars holding the WWF Tag Team Champions.
Which almost feels weird to say, since they've been holding the WCW titles almost as much as the WWF ones.
Yeah, trust me. Just wait till Foley. Vince McMahon is backstage. Chavo Guerrero and Hugh Morris come in, and they ask Vince for jobs if the Alliance loses at Survivor Series. Hugh and Chavo then ask if Austin is coming over to the WWF. Vince says maybe, and then he tells Chavo and Hugh no, and they leave. So, yeah.
What a couple of geeks, man. Just geeks. That's all I could think of, like losers, man. Groveling to try and keep a job,
Chavo's best match so far is on Sunday Night Heat with Scotty 2 Hotty before Invasion. Hugh Morris at least had a matchup with Edge and Chris Jericho.
Yeah, at least he got something.
Yes. So now we have Stone Cold versus Taz. Punches by Taz, punches by Austin, clothesline by Taz, Taz mission to Austin, a low blow and a stunner to Taz, and Austin gets the win. For this match, I went a dud. Taz tried, but Austin overpowered him.
Yeah, 0.5. I don't hand out zeros because that means no match happened, but 0.5. What was the reasoning behind this, of building it up for the last few weeks, and then Austin couldn't even be asked to put his wrestling. He's not even in his wrestling gear. Like, he couldn't even put his tights on. I mean,
nope.
What was like? I honestly don't get. Like, I'm not saying that they should have had like some 10-minute match and back and forth, but Taz looks like a bigger geek than Chavo and Hugh Morris just did. I mean, he got jobbed out in seconds by a guy who didn't even put his wrestling gear on. That's some shit, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, they had this build up to like where Taz is trying to get one on Austin, and Austin just squashes him.
Yeah, like I didn't expect a pin, or even he didn't even have to win, but some offense that lasts for a few minutes, something. I mean, because how do you rehab Taz now? What do you do now? Where do you go with him? Like, if I was Taz, I'd be like, well, what am I going to do now? What the hell, man?
Oh, just wait until SmackDown. One other thing too that I want to bring up on Jim Ross and Paul Heyman's commentary, they are hammering of this winner take all match here, and they're complaining about, well, not really complaining, but they're like, oh, well, you might be in business or I might be in business. You might be out of a job or I might be out of a job. Paul Heyman says, you think we could get Tenay to come and replace you, JR? Of all people.
One of the greatest name drops, right?
Tenay. Mike Tenay. I don't even think JR ever met Mike Tenay.
Probably not.
Yes.
Couldn't pick him up out of a lineup if he had to.
No, I don't. That's only a line that Paul can use that like only insiders would know who Mike Tenay was. I don't think JR cared. I don't even think Vince heard it and cared enough to be like, no. Who's Tenay, fellow?
Because at that point, they hadn't, he was barely, like, people, I don't think people remember, but yeah, he was on WCW, but he was barely on, like, if you watched Worldwide on Sunday mornings, you'd see him, but he was rarely on Nitro or Thunder, so it was like, it was hard to get used to him, and I didn't really know much about him until he got to TNA, so Heyman was dropping bombs here, and I love this banter. every week it picks up more and more between these two. It's great because they're both trying to cut each other down, but still remain professional. It's fantastic.
Yep. So then Austin beats on Taz. Shane comes out to stop Austin. Shane tells Austin to address the Alliance backstage. So we go backstage and the Alliance is there. Stephanie calls out Hugh Morris and Chavo Guerrero. Then Regal fires both of them on the spot.
That makes sense. A bunch of geeks.
Stone Cold and Shane come in. Kurt asks why Austin gave him a stunner on Thursday and didn't have his back versus Edge. Austin says that, well, you thought that Kurt could take on Edge by himself. And, you didn't save me from Kane either. So Kurt is really relying on Austin as like their best friends. And then they start shoving each other. Shane intervenes and tells Austin to stop fighting with the Alliance and call out The Rock. Shane says nobody is defecting to the WWF from the Alliance. Shane says they cannot crumble within. Shane then asks if his teammates are cool because then you see RVD and Booker T shoving each other. And even like Ivory's like, come on, guys, get it together.
It's kind of funny to me that Shane is the one making the most sense out of everybody here, right? Like he's the one trying to bring everybody together going, guys, we got to stop this.
Well, I mean, Shane is the leader of the Alliance. Well, he's not the leader, but he's the owner of WCW. He started all this, so it makes sense for him to be the level-headed one. He's always been level-headed.
I like that he's, trying to step up more and more. Clearly Austin is like the leader, but Shane's like, no, I'm the one. It's everything's on the line for me more than you guys. But I like Shane stepping up and being the voice of reason.
Yep. Shane says they cannot crumble from within. And then, like I said, he asks if they're all cool with each other. Shane says if they don't pull it together, he will see all of them in hell. So a very serious line there by Shane. He really meant it.
Yeah, he's he's so scared to lose this damn match.
I will say, Jeremy, as we look in the locker room, let's see. There's Diamond Dallas Page. There's Lance Storm. And there's Sean Stasiak. Stacy Keibler, too. And that's and the Hurricane. So really 5 actual WCW stars are left in the Alliance locker room. I don't even know if Tommy Dreamer was there. So there's really one ECW guy in Rob Van Dam who came over from the company. I didn't see Mike Awesome, and I think Canyon was on an injury too. And again, no Rhino. So yeah. If you look at this, the Alliance is small.
Yeah, their numbers seem to dwindle slowly but surely over the weeks.
They look bigger in July than it did now. I mean, and now it's like they're not even a force to be reckoned with. They were back in July. Like, you wanted to believe something big was going to happen. And then you get to this, and it's like, who's left?
Yeah, and we've said before with the 5-on-5, like there's 2 guys that weren't WWF guys on the Alliance team. It's like, holy crap, man! Like you couldn't throw DDP a bone, or Rhino, or Taz,
Yeah, because again, the invasion team was Booker T, Rhino, Diamond Dallas Page, and the Dudley Boys. I mean, good ECW representation. I mean, Rhino being the last ECW champion, but the problem is that like a lot of these guys were already in WWF, so kind of didn't matter because they already know who they are.
Yeah, they're already. Yeah, I mean, it's just puttering along, man.
Yep. So now we have a WCW tag team title match. It's the Dudley Boys versus this new tag team that just came out of nowhere, Scotty 2 Hotty and Albert. who I'm sure have been on the house show loop as a tag team.
Now, I may have missed it. Was Albert the hip hop hippo at this point, or was that still a few months off?
No, he's the hip hop hippo.
Okay, I couldn't. I rewatched it the other day, and I'm like, I can't remember if they said it or not, because I just watched the O2 Rumble, and they called him the hip hop hippo. I'm like, oh, that's right. Yeah, he became a joke like quick, right?
Yes. So all four men brawl, a flapjack to Scotty, clothesline by Albert. Stacy comes in the ring. Albert pantses Stacy. Scotty's about to give Stacy the worm drop, and then the Dudley Boys pull Stacy to safety and they leave. So for this, I'm going to give it a dud because there was no winner.
Yeah, 0.5. What was the point here? Like, you could have had the Dudleys, like, they should have gotten a win, right? Heading into the pay-per-view. To me, that makes sense, you know, and it's not like Scotty 2 Hotty and the hip hop hippo are going to set the world on fire, you know. Have them, you know, we can destroy Taz in seconds. Why can't we do the same to these guys? And it's the Dudley Boys, you know. This was just dud, absolute dud.
Chris Jericho is in Vince's office. Vince wants to know why Jericho beat Rock with a chair. Jericho says he is sick of The Rock, and he is basically sick of like all the catchphrases and the mocks that The Rock does and everything. So Vince says he's sick of Jericho being selfish. Vince says to get along with the team or they will lose at Survivor Series.
I mean, he's full-blown heel at this point, right? I mean, after that vicious attack he did to The Rock, I mean, he was messing him up. So now I have to wonder, you know, Jericho wants to keep his job, but also he can't stand The Rock even more so than before. So what is this going to mean for the team, you know? And Vince is right. Like, you guys got to get along. Otherwise, everyone's going to be out of a job. And then what are you going to do, you know? And I like that Jericho is questioning Vince. What Vince said by the or else line, sowing the seeds for Jericho maybe turning his back at Survivor Series. So it's very possible as we get closer.
Yep. So Jeremy, they've done a lot of photo shoots with this Survivor Series pay-per-view. Not the logo, but like the superstars in it. Like the original one had Vince McMahon instead of the Big Show, and it had Chris Jericho as the WCW champion. Now The Rock's WCW champion. Then they have this second one, right, where Angle is the United States champion, and they have Booker T holding the WWF tag title as well.
Yeah, it's like they were so hot potatoes with who was going to be in it that they couldn't keep the poster straight. And I got to be honest with you, I never cared for the design of the poster anyway. I just thought it was kind of It kind of looked like a crappy early Photoshop job. But maybe
I don't know. Yeah, but I think just seeing all 10 of these guys in one ring together, like it seemed like, oh my god, it's gonna be the greatest pay-per-view ever.
Like this is what Survivor Series is meant to be, right? I mean, it's bring all these, and it's a very good reminder of what Survivor Series was those first 4 or 5 years when you would get all these big names teaming up together like that. Survivor Series is always my favorite pay-per-view because that's what you got to see. Guys that teamed up that you didn't normally see, and anything could happen, 4-on-1, 5-on-2, whatever. Like this was a good reminder because the Survivor Series over the past, few years, like 98, 99, 2000, and they kind of ho-hum, So this is like a return to form. Big match, a lot of big name talent in one match. Like this was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, just hammering with Vince's winner take all. And I just think that whole winner take all line was what drew people to the pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah, because I do remember I had the DVD and I believe it was printed on the front. And the promo video, if you watch it where they recap everything, I think it's got Vince saying the line, but it echoes. I remember it echoing, and it just sounded so cool. It's like it made it so much more important. And what I also like is that this isn't about titles. You know, we normally see big matches like this about championships or whatever, but not this time. This means more than the titles, so it's pretty cool.
Yep. Regal is backstage in his office. Christian says good luck versus The Rock tonight. Regal says Christian has been a great European champion and says he will face The Big Show tonight. So Regal trying to get Christian to do dirty work and take out The Big Show before Survivor Series.
What a great reward for being such a great European champion.
Mm-hmm. So now we have a WWF Hardcore title match of Undertaker versus Rob Van Dam. So again, almost every title has been on the line here.
Yeah, so far we've done pretty good for titles.
Yep. And it's all the main players in this main event at Survivor Series too.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of big names on these last few shows here. It's title matches, big names. And we're getting fresh matchups. RVD and Undertaker. Who could have predicted we'd see that on Raw?
Yeah. RVD works on Taker's body shots to RVD. Taker goes into the post. Taker runs RVD into the post. Taker misses a boot and goes into a railing. RVD hits Taker with a cross body from the bottom of the ring apron. RVD goes into the set. Taker sets up RVD for the last ride. Booker hits Taker. RVD and Booker double team Taker. Double clothesline to both men. Clotheslines by Taker. Snake Eyes to RVD. Sidekick by Booker. Taker pushes the ref and knocks down Booker T. Superplex to Booker. And then RVD 5-star frog splashes Taker for the win. For this matchup, I gave it 2.5.
Yeah, I went 2.5 as well. Something on here, what I thought probably the most impressive thing, they fought up the ramp at one point. RVD got on the front of the Titantron and did a high cross body. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I again, RVD gets not only a win, but a win against a big name, The Undertaker. Holy crap, man. They have to be planning something for this guy, right? I mean, I wonder how they convinced Taker to do the job for RVD, especially when someone like DDP came in, multiple time WCW champion. Undertaker wouldn't do squat with him. But for RVD, he's like, yeah, sure, why not? But it was awesome. It was a great match. I enjoyed it. It wasn't boring at all. And it was pretty good. I like RVD getting the rub here.
Yeah, and that crossbody off the Titantron, I was like, whoa.
Amazing and we take that for granted. We would take it for granted a few years from now, but in 2001, that stuff didn't happen very often, so it was still like, holy crap, it was just amazing.
Yep. Vince is backstage with The Rock now. Vince reminds Rock to get on the same page for Survivor Series. Vince then repeats everything Jericho said about The Rock. Vince says he knows he can count on The Rock. Vince says Rock won't let him down. Rock says he will whip all the Alliance's candy asses. Rock calls Jericho a punk-ass bitch and to stay out of The Rock's way.
I like that Rock said Jericho bought himself a fresh Brahma Bull ass kicking. Like, yeah, there we go. Great promo by The Rock here. And I like that Vince is still dead set on this whole survival thing, and it just adds more and more weight to the situation. I love it.
Now we have Mick Foley, Commissioner Mick Foley of the WWF. He comes to the ring. Mick wants to address some personal feelings to the fans. And then he says that he is out of a job regardless of which team wins, because if the Alliance wins, Regal will be commissioner and he'll be out of a job. If the WWF wins, he'll be out of a job because he doesn't want to answer to Vince McMahon, because Foley has said that he's been commissioner for 3 days before Vince came back. Foley says he will not answer to Vince, says you can take his job, but not his pride. I think Foley was burnt out at this point.
I don't get this. This confused me because I'm like, Vince didn't threaten Foley. Vince wasn't like, Foley, this is your fault, or you got to do this, or you got to do that, or you work for me. None of that. It's like Foley like created all of this. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why would you? Vince wins. You're still commissioner. It's like I don't get it. Like you were commissioner in what was it, the year 2000 when Vince was still in charge. What's the difference now? Like it almost feels like they're trying to set something up with Foley coming back, maybe.
But in 2000, Vince really took a back seat after King of the Ring when Foley got hired.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't come back until Armageddon. At this point, Foley is WWF commissioner, but then Vince comes back, and it seemed like Vince was controlling the WWF and not Foley here.
So I guess my thing would be then, to me, maybe I'm wrong here, but the way that Foley makes it sound, he's the one that can't get along with Vince, whereas Vince hasn't shown any signs of, he's not said one bad thing about Foley. He's not been like, Foley, what are you doing? Why'd you let, none of that. I mean, he's not sitting there going, I'm going to work with him or anything, but he's not saying anything negative. He's not doing anything. There's no signs. It's all Foley being negative. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, so you won't work with him, even though he's not saying that, because obviously he's turned a new leaf, right? I mean, after all that 2001, so him and Linda are back together. So it's like, Foley, what are you creating all this drama for? Like, you're bringing this on. Like, I don't feel bad for you.
I think Foley's mad because when he was commissioner, he got to make all the matches and stuff. And now that Vince has had like all the airtime, it's like, well, what do you need me anyway for?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, he feels like he's losing his power. He's gonna pout about it, take his ball and go home.
Yeah, it's not like he's having like segment after segment like he was in the year 2000. So I think that's where it's got to be coming from. Foley then addresses all the titles that are around people's waist and that these titles mean nothing. So he's basically saying it's like when Oprah said, you get a car, and you get a car.
Everybody gets a car.
Foley's like, we have a U.S. WCW United States champion, an Intercontinental champion, a European champion, a Cruiserweight champion, a Light Heavyweight champion, 2 sets of tag titles, and 2 heavyweight titles. So if you think about it, Foley is right here because, again, we can't even keep track of who's champion anymore.
I agree with him about the heavyweight titles and the tag titles, but the U.S., Intercontinental, and European, I don't, because U.S. is strictly U.S., European, but Intercontinental is over those 2. So if you want to get the Intercontinental title, you need to beat the U.S. or the European champion, and then you would move up to the Intercontinental. You beat him, then you'd move up to the heavyweight title. So those 3 titles I'm good with, but he's right about the others.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to make a bigger announcement here. Foley says he will consolidate those belts, or some of the belts at least. He says he wasn't needed last week on Raw when they were in Long Island and was told to stay home, so he's complaining about that.
Yeah, he said he says he has a belt in his closet. When he opens it up, he smells hard work, tears, and beer because he fought for it. And he said he showed up last week on Raw in his hometown, but they told him they didn't need him on the program. Like, oh, boo-hoo, buddy.
So he announces that the Intercontinental Champion Edge will face the WCW United States Champion Test. Foley got it backwards. It's Edge who is the United States champion, and Test is the Intercontinental champion. But to his point, again,
Yeah, hot potato.
which title? Who has which title? I would get confused too, because he has a point that with everybody having a title, you don't even remember which one's which.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even show you the title change. People just show up with a new title, and you're like, "Wait a minute, what? Christian's a European champion now? What happened?"
Yeah,
they don't even tell you. He just walks on camera with it. Like, okay.
So Test and Edge will be in a title unification match where the winner will automatically win the titles and become undisputed champion of those two titles. And whichever team wins, they will have a job regardless of which team wins.
I like that. I like that stipulation. Like, as long as you have a title belt, not only does that title, the company you represent, that sticks around, but you get to stick around no matter what. Like, that's cool.
Yep. And then he's going to unify the WCW tag and WWF tag titles in a unification match. It will be the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys in a steel cage match.
That'll be a good one, because the Hardys are, having problems, and the Dudley Boys, I mean, they seem like they're ready to go, although they're scared of Scotty Juhadi and the Hip Hop Hippo. So I guess we'll have to see.
Foley says he wanted to unify the light heavyweight title and cruiserweight title, but X-Pac is missing in action. And Regal,
he says, and no one cares about that title. Like,
yeah,
damn, that's cold, man.
Okay, if they wanted to unify both, here's what you do. You have Tajiri beat X-Pac, and then you have Kidman beat Tajiri, and then you have Kidman beat Tajiri for both titles, and you throw away the light heavyweight title.
That's what I would do.
Even if the WWF was going to win, you should still keep the WCW Cruiserweight belt because it's cooler than the light heavyweight belt.
Yeah, and it's got a better lineage, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to recall all the light heavyweight champions, but the Cruiserweight title was a big deal.
Yes. So, and I also heard at this point, I think X-Pac went into rehab here.
I believe you're right.
I also think I read something too that he did some live events as well after Survivor Series, and he was still carrying the light heavyweight title with him at live events. So I'm guessing he must have given it back. They're like, yeah, we can just throw this. We're keeping the cruiserweight title.
It wouldn't shock me if he had, he had physical possession of the belt, that he just instinctively brought it, even though he's, it's been deactivated. I can see that,
Yep. And then he said he thanks Regal for agreeing that they will have these matches here. And he also says Regal to Jerry as well at Survivor Series for some reason.
I like that. I like that after all this, finally at the end, because the whole time I'm watching, I'm going, how do you have the authority to say we're going to unify the belts? And then finally he throws that line out there. Him and Regal agreed. Like, I like that. That's cool. That means Regal's like, he's smart enough to go, we got to do something about all these titles. There's too many. And even though he represents the alliance, he's like, there's just too damn many. We got to do something here.
Yeah, and I bet you, like, even like the real, like, Darren Matthews, I think is his real name, was like, we need to do this for the sake, for the love of God.
Because he says that Regal does respect the business. No matter what he does as a bad guy, he still has respect for the business. That's awesome.
Yep. Foley says the fans should support Regal tonight versus The Rock. And it's like, I think that's when Mick Foley got there. It's like, what?
Yeah. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. All right. So he leaves. So, yeah. We're going to have some title unification matches, and Foley's angry.
He managed in a few minutes to set a big piece of Survivor Series in motion. Like, in just a few minutes, he managed to do a lot, which is great. So, it answers a lot of questions as we head into Survivor Series.
Yes, and you just said that titles don't really matter, but like you said, they don't really matter in the main event because it's a winner-take-all match. So Foley is giving you reason to care about titles on this pay-per-view besides the main event match.
Exactly. Spot on, my friend.
Mm-hmm. So now we have the Big Show versus Christian, a baseball.
5-star classic right here.
Oh, yeah. Baseball slide. Show tosses Christian. Show throws Christian down. A bear hug by Big Show. Then DDP gets headbutted, and the Big Show punches a chair into Christian for the win. For this matchup, I gave it a half a star.
Yeah, 0.5. That punch was through the chair was cool, though. I will say that. That was pretty neat.
Then the Dudley Boys come out. Big Show tosses the Dudley Boys, the Dudleys around. Low blow by Christian, a diamond cutter by DDP, and then the Dudley Boys smash a table over the Big Show, and then the APA come out, and they're really hyping up the Big Show here as a force to be reckoned with for the Survivor Series main event. Big Show's and JR is like, oh, I hope the Big Show is okay at Survivor Series. They were really giving the Big Show a lot of airtime here, talking about him.
You know what I don't get is why the APA came out here, but not for the Undertaker when a title was on the line. They could have helped the Undertaker, and he needed the help. Instead, they come out to help Big Show. Like, that doesn't make no sense to me. It's really odd.
Rock and Jericho are in the locker room arguing. Undertaker comes in with Kane. Taker doesn't know if Kane, Y2J, and The Rock are on the same page. Taker says if they lose, he will whoop all their asses. Rock says they are a team, and Undertaker is crystal clear. Yeah, so he's Undertaker trying to be the leader all of a sudden here, Jeremy.
I like that he mentioned he yelled at him for not being there when he was getting his ass kicked by Booker T and RVD, and I'm like, yeah, no shit, man. I'd have a word with the APA if I were you, brother.
Yeah. And now we have a WCW a WCW title match. It's William Regal versus The Rock. Regal beats on Rock, face plants Rock, clothesline by Rock, knee to Rock's face by Regal, belly to belly and DDT to Regal. Regal throws Rock to the outside. Tajiri comes out and spits the miss at Regal's face. A sharpshooter by The Rock for the win. For this matchup, I gave it a 1.25 stars.
Yeah, I gave it a 1 out of 5. I was going to ask you, I made a note. Is this the only time that Regal got a WCW World title match?
Yes. To my knowledge, yes, it is.
Isn't it kind of funny that it had to happen in the WWF?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's ridiculous. Oh, also, Regal's music at this point, awesome. I don't know why they changed it down the line, but right here, he's got the best theme music, man. It just sounds so great.
I think because with the trumpets, he seemed like more of the commissioner, but now with the tough guy, like when he comes back in 2002, it's the tough guy music.
Yeah, I love his music from here. It's such a small stretch for it, but it sticks out in my mind as being just awesome.
Mm-hmm. Rock gets on the mic and calls out Stone Cold to bring it. Out comes Stone Cold. Rock and Austin stare each other down. Rock says he hasn't forgotten about WrestleMania 17 and the Raw after Mania, and that Austin said he can whoop the Rock's ass anytime. Rock hopes if Austin comes back and joins the WWF at Survivor Series, that the Rock will whoop Austin's ass in the WWF. I'm gonna keep on going here. Rock says he will beat Austin for the WWF title. Austin takes the mic away. Austin tries to do the Rock's gimmick, but Rock takes away the mic. Austin says, finally, Stone Cold but the Rock takes it away. Rock tries again, but Austin makes fun of the fans. Austin tries again, but Rock cuts him off. Rock starts to make fun of Austin saying, what? Like, what? What? Austin grabs the mic back and then just says, what, in a serious voice to The Rock. Austin tries to tell Rock it's the bottom line, but then Rock takes the mic away again. Rock says Austin's breath smells like strudel and a dog turd. Austin says he's going to open up a can of whoop ass on The Rock. So I don't know how the rest of the segment went, except for one thing. Eventually, he gets to singing, and The Rock and Austin are singing Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett. Some people say Rock is to blame, but I know it's all Stone Cold's fault.
There's a point where right before they do that, they say Austin says the obvious thing to do would be to fight, and then he puts his hand on Rock's shoulder, and Rock pushes away, and Austin straight face goes, "Don't touch me." And Austin calls Rock a sumbitch and said, "Well, it's easy to fight. A song might break the tension." And then he does it. He does it again. He puts his arm on Rock's shoulder, and Rock pulls away, and Austin goes, "Don't pull away from me." It's so serious. And then he says, he goes, "I'm going to dedicate this song to a little kid with a busted knee in Texas, Jimmy Barris," and sings Delta Dawn completely out of key. I mean, it's horrible, just absolutely horrible. And then he asks if that makes The Rock feel better. And Rock says, kinda. And Rock says he appreciates Austin trying to ease the tension, and he offers to sing a song. And then Austin starts singing, or Rock starts singing, "You Got to Know When to Hold 'Em" by, I think it was Kenny Rogers. And then Rock proposes a duet, and they sing Margaritaville. And it's fantastic. It is absolutely magic, because the whole time you're waiting for something to happen, and they're just singing. And Rock's a good singer, right? And finally, Austin kind of stays on key with the Margaritaville. And it's fantastic. And I think I told the brief story last episode. When I got married to my ex-wife, my best man and I made him come out on the dance floor. We did this whole little thing, and I was Austin and he was The Rock, and it was fantastic. And we had the house mic and everything. Everybody loved it. So it popped the crowd at my wedding in 2007, and it popped the crowd here. This was fantastic, man.
Oh, that's awesome too. Yeah, my friend and I, we have a couple of beers, and we do the same thing. And then he gives me the rock bottom, then I give up, and I give him the stutter.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So after the singing, we get The Rock staring down Austin once again. And then The Rock says, by the way, The Rock will never, ever forget. And he gives Austin the rock bottom. And then Kurt Angle comes out to beat down The Rock. But then Chris Jericho comes out to fight Austin and Angle. The Austin and Angle retreat. And Jericho and The Rock stand tall in the ring.
I like that. It was a great segment, not only between Rock and Austin, but when Angle comes out and Jericho comes out, and Jericho and Rock are standing tall, unlike the last 2 or 3 times where they left each other laying. Like finally we're seeing some solidarity between Rock and Jericho. But it was this was great. This was a great way to end Raw. For a Raw that didn't end with a match, this is like, I know a lot of purists be like, "Oh, it should end with a match." This was fantastic. Just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now again, tensions are still running high, but like you said, Jeremy, The Rock and Jericho seem to be on the same page.
Yeah, reluctantly, they're finally on the same page here at the end, so things are looking good.
Yep. So, Jeremy, let's deep dive into SmackDown. This is SmackDown from November 15th, 2001. We're live in Albany, New York. We kick it off with Rob Van Dam versus Kane. RVD slips out of a press slam, kicks the Kane, huge clothesline by Kane, backbreaker to RVD. Kane drives RVD's back into the turnbuckle. Somersault plancha by RVD, Rolling Thunder by RVD, clothesline and a big boot by Kane, superplex to RVD. Booker T distracts Kane, and Kane bounces off the top rope. A missile drop kick to Kane by RVD for the win. For this matchup, I went 2 stars on it.
I went 2.5 because Kane catching RVD with a superplex impressed the hell out of me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. My question, though, was why wasn't the hardcore belt on the line? Like, screw it, put it on the line. And again, here's RVD getting another win against a big name. So he's got some momentum here, right? Like he could be the outlier. He could end up being the most important member of the Alliance going to Survivor Series. He's pinning all these guys. So he could be the ace that, Shane McMahon needs.
Yeah, it's like RVD could be the sole survivor.
Yep, he could bring it home for him.
Yep. So now The Undertaker comes out and he saves Booker and RVD. Then we go backstage. Tess is backstage playing Xbox, and Stacy comes in to see if Tess is ready for their 6-man tag match and says Tess is hotter than Edge. I remember in 1999 when Tess was playing WWF No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 while Stephanie was trying to get his attention as well.
He seems like a
on
gamer.
N64.
And I respect him even more because of that. Here he was playing. You said he was playing Xbox. He was also playing Project Gotham Racing for any gamers out there. But how lucky was Tess? He goes from Stephanie to Stacy Keibler and gets to play our PlayStation and Xbox on TV. This dude got real lucky, man. He had a great start to his career. What a stud.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they have him to advertise because Xbox was the official sponsor for Survivor Series.
Guys, this was when Xbox was brand new. It wasn't an established brand yet, so people were like, what is this Xbox going to do? So this is a big deal to get on WWF with the demographic. Like this is amazing,
Mm-hmm. So now, hold on a second. Yep. Oh, yeah. Jericho talks to The Rock. Jericho reminds Rock about everything Rock said about him. Jericho mocks The Rock. Y2J says he will watch The Rock's back and lead the WWF to victory at Survivor Series. So Jericho trying to be the leader again. The Rock says he will be the one to lead the WWF to victory. They both say after Survivor Series they will whoop each other's asses. And then Rock and Jericho do weird, funny handshakes here. I love the Rocks when he does the quack, 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 and then he shoots the gun.
Yeah, he said, see, Jericho's cool like the Fonz, so The Rock pretends to shoot the duck and holsters his finger gun. It's so out of left field, but funny at the same time. It's so great.
Yeah. So now we have a 6-man tag match. It's Edge and the Hardy Boys versus Tess and the Dudley Boys. Edge and Bubba start. Bulldog by Edge, double team suplex to the Dudleys, clothesline by Tess to Matt, swinging clothesline by Devon, or spinning clothesline by Devon, clothesline by Jeff to Tess, whisper in the wind to Devon, neckbreaker to Jeff by Bubba, back body drop to Jeff, a what's up dive to Jeff by Devon, clothesline by Jeff, Bubba misses the ass dive, tag to Edge and Devon, spinning heel kick to Tess, poetry in motion to Bubba and Tess, by Edge. Jeff misses a leapfrog. Devon almost runs into Stacy, but stops. Edge spears Devon for the win. For this matchup, I gave it 2.5. It was good to feature all 6 of these guys here before Survivor Series because they were a part of that huge announcement by Foley that'll be the Hardys and Dudleys in one unification match and Edge and Test in another one.
I went 2.5 out of 5 as well. I thought this was a great match. The Test and the Dudleys, they look strong even in defeat. I thought Hardys and Edge worked well together. Edge gets a solid win here heading into his title unification match. And it's also funny. It's hilarious to me to see Edge and Matt Hardy teaming up here with what would happen later on, you know?
Yep. So Test gives Edge a big boot. Lita knocks Stacy into Matt's arms. Then Lita walks right into a 3D by the Dudley boys. And you can see like Bubba like screaming at the Hardy boys, "See you in the cage."
Just makes them even more dangerous because they're like, we don't care. We'll hit the 3D on Lita. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, it was weird by Michael Cole, who said, "Oh, the Dudleys and the Hardy Boys haven't been in a cage match before." Yet the Hardy Boys fought Edge and Christian in a cage match at Unforgiven 2000.
Damn that Michael Cole.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was like, really, dude? Yeah. Matt is backstage saying he's sorry to Lita, and they kiss, but Matt has a weird look on his face like, I don't care that Stacy fell into my lap.
Yeah, like you don't care. And I'll tell you, speaking of Cole making that mistake, you know who wouldn't have made that mistake? Mike today.
Oh, yes. Mike today would have been all over that. Like, oh, well, I don't think I've seen the Dudley boys, but the Hardy boys were in a steel cage match before.
Why, he's the professor.
Mm-hmm. So the Big Show comes out, but he comes out in DDP's gear and a wig.
Yeah, with big white teeth. I mean, big white teeth, man.
He starts to impersonate DDP. He says DDP losing his job will be a good thing. It's not a bad thing if I lose my job. It's a good thing. The real DDP comes out, and we have a matchup. Page punches Big Show. DDP counters Show counters a diamond cutter. And then DDP gets a choke slam, and Big Show comes and gets the win. For this, I gave it a dud. You could say it's a half a star, but there's really nothing to this.
Yeah,
they're wasting DDP. Yeah,
I will say this. Even and this is on my notes. Like, I still maintain this is a better character for DDP than when he first came in. I'd rather see him doing this. At least he's funny and entertaining than being a stalker and getting jobbed out by the Undertaker. You know, but it still sucks because he could have meant so much more. And did Big Show really? Did he really need all this TV time? You know.
I'm not sure, but especially with like DDP, it's like, well, you wasted DDP. Mm-hmm. And again, Big Show's still recovering from the fat farm, as they say.
Yeah, like this didn't benefit anybody. But I will say this, Shane, his jumping chair shot is always a thing of beauty. That man can hit a jumping chair shot like no one else. It's just phenomenal the way he does it.
Yep, like you said, Shane McMahon then comes out and hits Big Show with a chair, but he does the leap with the chair as well and then knocks down the Big Show. Then we go backstage. Stephanie is backstage watching Raw from July 9th. Now, Jeremy, I have a question. Do you still have a VCR in your house?
I have 2 of them, actually, yes.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They're tucked away, but only because I have a few VHS movies they haven't put on DVD or Blu-ray yet. There's some that I take that back. One of the movies I have on VHS is on Blu-ray, but it's like from Korea and they want like $50. I'm like, no. So I just keep the VHS around it. I have some of the old Coliseum home videos that they haven't ported over and they're not on the network. So I'm like, cool. Like I got a few of the best of the WWF VHSs. So I always keep a VCR around just in case.
Is this Monday Night Raw on the on your VHS collection?
No.
Okay.
No, I can't say that.
Well, you want to know what I have on collection? I have No Mercy 01, No Mercy 02, and the Raw 10th Anniversary Special that didn't air on a Monday. It aired on a Tuesday nights.
I do remember that. I remember it airing on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, because that's like one of the last times they used WWE New York, actually, and it went out of business like 3 weeks later.
I always try to keep my eye out for the VHSs because they're so. I can go on eBay and buy them, but I'd rather find them in the wild because typically they're cheaper. You know, people like to charge an arm and a leg for some of these things.
Yep. So she's watching the Raw from July 9th when the Alliance was formed, and we're far away from July and what the impact of the Alliance formation had to here, Jeremy, and it's gone downhill, sadly.
Yeah, I didn't like with this segment. I'm like, you know, at least stuff looks good, but this, you know, it was just Paul heading to the ring. We didn't need any of this. I didn't feel like it added anything, or you could have just had this happen in the ring. You know, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, well, Paul comes in and he says, "I'm going to call out your father," and Steph's like, "Go get him, Paul." So Paul Heyman comes out to the ring. Paul says he's going to call out Vince McMahon right now to his own ring. But Paul says the fans appreciate what him, Shane, and Steph have done and how they stood up to Vince McMahon, basically. Heyman says the WWF will die at Survivor Series. He says Vince McMahon will see the WWF die. Paul Heyman says he agrees with Mick Foley that the WWF sucks. He says Vince McMahon is a has-been and that his own children hate him. And his own employees don't want anything to do with him. He says Vince McMahon will see the WWF die at Survivor Series. Heyman then says Vince has the same chances of saving the WWF as he did with the XFL surviving.
Great line. What a great line, man.
So let's pause it there. Paul coming out strong again.
I have to wonder how much of this was like I know obviously he knows how to work, but man, he said some stuff that was real, right? I mean, like, yeah, the WWF did suck, you know, and it was because of Vince McMahon. All those years we got a sucky like 1995. That's a rough year, you know. And
especially with the XFL line too.
Oh my God, that was the best, man. Oh, because Vince was so into that XFL. And I know that we kind of underplay it now, but like people who didn't watch back then, like the younger fans that are listening now, like you guys don't know how much they pushed that XFL. Like they pushed it hard, and it just failed. Like just boom, that was it. It was over as quick as it started.
Yep. So out comes Vince. Heyman bows to Vince. He mocks Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. He asks if Vince likes people kissing his ass like Patterson and Briscoe did all those years. Heyman says he wanted to see Vince face to face to say he hates his guts. He calls Vince a son of a bitch. Paul then says, you took Hulk Hogan's blood and built Titan Towers with it.
Ooh.
You stole Bret Hart's dream, and with that, you bought an airplane with the WWF logo on it.
Ouch.
You stole Shawn Michaels' smile, and with that, you took your company and went public with it, and you call yourself a billionaire. Again, Vince was not on great. Yes, Vince was not on great terms with Hogan at the time. He definitely was not on good terms with Bret at the time. And Shawn Michaels just got fired by the WWF in March of 01.
Yeah. Man, Heyman's out there just taking shots, man. Just, oh my God. Not holding anything back. Like, I can't remember watching this when it happened, but watching this just recently, I'm watching it going, oh my God. Like, he's going for it, you know? Like, you can almost see Vince, like, there's a piece of him that's a performer that's selling it, right? But there's got to be a part of him inside that's going, you son of a bitch. Like, holy crap, man.
Heyman says he stole everyone's hard work and that he wouldn't compete with the territories. When his father was in business, he said he wouldn't compete with the territories. But then when Vince Sr. died, he competed and he ran everyone into the ground and stole their ideas. Heyman name drops Don Owens and Sam Muchnick and Jim Crockett.
You just raking Vince over the coals, man. Just raking him over the coals. Holy shit.
Paul Heyman says that none of those guys matter because Vince didn't really steal anything from them. But what Vince really stole was everything from Paul Heyman.
W. Oh my God.
Paul says while Vince McMahon was promoting Doink the Clown, Paul was giving Stone Cold Steve Austin his first beer in ECW, while Bobby Heenan and Mean Gene Okerlund were singing Tutti Frutti. Paul Heyman was making Attitude on ECW, and then Vince McMahon stole Attitude and made the Attitude Era.
It's just, you know what's great is that he's not wrong. Like, he's just not wrong at all. Everything he's saying is true. Oh man.
He says Paul and Vince's children will get even with Vince at Survivor Series. Then Heyman turns to Taz. Paul says Taz used to be the suplex machine, but is now a fat, obnoxious little commentator. Then, I don't know what line he dropped, but then he said, you went into Playboy and you told Playboy magazine about all your affairs and you flaunt your affairs in a magazine. Then he said something that got a bleep, and I was like, what the heck did he say?
I know at one point he said, screw you and screw your family. Like,
yeah,
he just went for it. I love that he went after Taz too, because he's calling Taz out, and holy shit, man.
I don't know, like if he said he said something with an F word in it. I don't know what it was. It might have been derogatory, or he dropped an F-bomb. But Heyman was going hard. I've heard stories about this that if Vince came up with the idea and if he said, hey, Paul, what do you got for me? He's like, do you really want to know? He goes, no. Why don't you go out there and show me what you got? And he goes, I'm not going to hold back. And Vince said, I can take it, basically.
Yeah. I think the F word he used was not the FU word. I think it was the FAG word. And I think that's why it got bleeped. Back in the day, it wouldn't get bleeped, but now it will.
Yeah, I mean, Paul is going to the limit with Vince here, and then Taz gets in the ring. Taz then puts Heyman in the Taz mission, and then chokes Heyman out. Vince then says, Paul Heyman, you are the epitome of the Alliance, and that on Sunday, the Alliance will choke. What a promo by Paul.
You know what I loved is that Vince didn't try to cut him off. He didn't try to say anything back. He just stood there and let him talk. Let him say his piece.
He took it like a man. Yeah,
he did. I mean, this was a train wreck, only more horrific. Holy shit.
No.
I have never on my show and on your show, I've never rated a segment, but I'm going to rate this a segment, and I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. This was perfect. Absolutely perfect. From start to finish, perfection right here.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. Like I laughed. At first, I thought it was funny. Like he's like, "Really, you're going with Shawn Michaels' smile?" But then it's like, "Well, Shawn Michaels did just get fired from the WWF, so I understand it now." But I was like, "That's a lame thing because Shawn didn't want to wrestle Brett." But it's like, no, Shawn Michaels just got fired from the WWF.
Yeah, he got shit canned after, the last 2-3 years of not having to wrestle but still getting paid every month and showing up randomly high as a kite on pills and stuff. And it's like, oh man.
Yeah, that was on March 26th. That was when Raw. Shawn Michaels got invited to go on to Raw, and I feel like he was gonna make an appearance at WrestleMania 17, but then Vince looked at him and was like, Hunter, we gotta send him home. And Hunter was like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, I remember Hunter telling that story that Shawn was just out of his mind. And then when he said, you can't do anything, he said that Shawn, I believe he said Shawn cut a shoot promo on him in front of everybody. But as much as people bag on Triple H, man, what a friend to go through that and stick by him, and even though they fired Shawn Michaels, they still, had they not done that, God only knows what would have happened to that dude. Right? Because he turned everything around. Thank God they did,
Mm-hmm. So now Jim Ross comes out on commentary now.
Oh, wait a minute. Rate this. I gave a rating. I want to hear your rating for this.
I will give it a 5. I said I gave it a 5 as well.
There we go. Okay. There we go.
Yes. I mean, it was a little weird, like him again. It's only Paul. Only Paul can get away with it for being too inside. Don Owen, Sam Mustick, and Jim Crockett.
Like I knew all of them, but I guarantee you, back in 2001, a lot of people, because the internet was still new, there wasn't a lot of dirt sheet sites, but the inside fans knew that stuff. But I know the vast majority didn't. But man, that had to sting. Especially the Mushnick line, that had to sting, man.
I mean, you got to think that there were no NWA fans there. I mean, maybe they knew Crockett from WCW, but not that far back. No way.
No, and especially where they were at in New York, that wasn't a Crockett area. That wasn't a Crockett territory.
No. Yep. So now we have Jim Ross on commentary. I don't know why Taz didn't just stay on commentary for the rest of the night.
That would have been great if he choked him out and then went and put the mic back on and sat down nah, I just choked him out. Let's talk.
Yeah. Yeah, and even Taz on commentary here tonight, he's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but, I'm still rooting for the Alliance. It's like, really? You just got your butt kicked and you're still rooting for the Alliance? Okay.
I like that this was, and I think I said this maybe the last episode or before, we were seeing Taz on commentary. It's almost like a trial run, right? And nowadays, I can't speak about Taz nowadays as his commentary. Whew. But back in the day, I thought he was pretty good on SmackDown commentary. I thought he did a good job. I really do.
Yeah. So now we have Booker T versus The Undertaker. Taker hits Booker from behind. Booker goes into the steps. Booker goes into the steps again. Big boots of Booker. Taker gives a chokeslam to Booker T and leaves after he shoves Tim White. So Taker was going for a chair, and then he pushes Tim White, and Tim White calls for the bell. It's like, okay, whatever. And then he gives a chokeslam to Booker T.
This was we're talking longer than this match actually took place. It was under a minute. This was nothing. Yeah.
Regal is then backstage again with Ivory. Ivory wants to know if the rumors are true about the women's title, which we have not seen since Judgment Day 2001 in the hands of China.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that they're. I'm not the biggest fan of women's wrestling, but I thought, and I mentioned this to you a couple of weeks ago or a couple episodes ago, I thought they had enough people they could have brought the belt back, but it's good they finally are,
Yes. And it's good that like finally the women are healthy enough too, because Trish has been on the sidelines for a really long time here, ever since after Invasion, basically.
Yeah, she missed quite a bit of time.
Yep. So Regal says it will be a 6-pack challenge for the WWF Women's Title. It's going to be Lita, Jacqueline, and Trish Stratus. Well, it's the three of them representing the WWF, but it's every woman for himself versus Mighty Molly, Ivory, and a mystery woman, which is weird. Like, you're bringing a mystery woman 3 days before Survivor Series.
I'm kind of hoping that it's not someone like Moolah or Mae Young, you know.
No. Oh yes, Moolah and Mae Young really representing the WCW ECW alliance. Then Gregory Helms, not the Hurricane, but Gregory Helms comes in and asks Regal if it's true that there will be an immunity battle royal at Survivor Series. And Regal says, yes, it's true. At Survivor Series, there will be an immunity battle royal. 20 men in the ring from both sides, representing the Alliance and the WWF. Whichever man wins, Alliance or WWF, doesn't matter which team wins, that person cannot be fired for up to 1 year if they win the immunity battle royal.
I like the idea of bringing the women's title back. I thought the immunity battle royal is a good idea, and I love Ace Reporter Gregory Helms. The only thing I would change about this entire segment is I really think Regal should have came out to the ring and made all these announcements in the ring, just like mirror what Foley did on Raw, right? Have his time as a commissioner to come out and make these big announcements, because they just kind of almost mentioned the immunity battle royal in passing, but that's kind of a big deal because you get to keep your job if you win. You know, like, holy crap, that's a big thing.
Well, I also think that Paul Heyman was the promo by Heyman was mirroring what Foley was saying, even though Foley wasn't saying it to Vince's face, at least.
Yeah, it was definitely. I'd rather have Heyman's over Regal coming out. I just kind of wish. I wish they had put a little more importance into this, because these are two big announcements. You know, these are big deals.
Mm-hmm. Regal says, like I said, Regal says it's true. So now we have Stone Cold and Kurt Angle. They're backstage. Austin is mad that he got a rock bottom. Austin says that Kurt needs to trust Austin as the leader. And Austin says Kurt might jump to the WWF. He says, Kurt says no, and that, Angle and Austin are cool. And he says Jericho is just Canadian cool.
He, when they talk about not trusting each other and they need to get along, they pinky swear their loyalty to each other. Which I thought was hilarious. It reminds me of like when Angle was wearing Austin's hat when he's in his wrestling gear and he's wearing that red hat. He just looks like a doofus, or like back when they did the cowboy and the hats and the singing. It's just so unexpected. These big, tough, badass guys pinky promising each other. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Paul Heyman wasn't wearing an ECW hat. He was wearing a Stone Cold hat.
You got some sirens in the background there. What are you doing over there, man?
Scott Steiner's coming into my town right now. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but hey, Big Papa Pump's here.
Get out of the studio, man. We're busy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, yeah. I live in a very ambulance calling town. So then Tori Wilson is backstage and Regal comes up and says to Jerry he's going to get a beatdown at Survivor Series. Tori calls Regal a pompous ass. Regal says Tori can vote for Regal if the WWF loses and Tori needs a job.
Well, he says he could find a position for her, which is probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard that man say.
Yeah. So now we have a tag team matchup. It's Regal and Ivory versus Tori and Tajiri. Ivory tackles Tori, face plant by Ivory. Ivory stomps on Tori and a leg drop. Clothesline by Tori, handspring elbow to Ivory, elbow to Regal, tarantula to Regal, miss to Ivory, and then Tori gets pulled in by Regal by the hair, a Regal bomb by Regal to Tori, and then he puts her in the Regal stretch. For this match segment, I actually gave it a star, even though there's really no clear winner here.
Yeah, I gave it a 0.5. You know, props to Ivory for taking the mist. And as I've said countless times, I love the tarantula, man. And Regal putting Tori in the Regal stretch, like, number one, the Regal stretch looks like one of the most painful moves you could ever take, right? I mean, he grinds that in, man. He locks it in and grinds it in. So props to her for taking it. But yeah, just a quick match, get everybody on TV, you know, as they head into the pay-per-view. So it's fine.
Yep. Vince McMahon is then backstage. Well, actually, first off, we get a Survivor Series build-up promo, the one that will get the pay-per-view as well. Jeremy, do you remember the original band for the original song and band for Survivor Series 01?
Oh God. Now that you put me on the spot, no. But I can hear it in my head, but I can't remember what it was now.
I need to feel you. You need to feel me.
Puddle of Mud.
Yep, Control by Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, Control, that's it.
You're not the one for me now. I can't control you. Like, that made, again, songs made pay-per-views.
My favorite, like, the WWE has and WWF has always done great with their song choices. I mean, one or two has kind of seemed weird, but like that stretch from 2000 to like 0304, man, they're all bangers, man. This is some of my favorite music, you know, Puddle of Mud and Theory of a Dead Man and just all them guys. Like they did a phenomenal job with the music, and it just sucks you in. It's such a shame now because you watch some of these and they have to, you know, pipe new music in, and it's like, oh man, it kind of takes some of the sting out of it. Like kind of off topic, but like the No Way Out from 2003 has the Evanescence song, and when they do the match card where they run down the entire lineup, phenomenal. That song just makes it phenomenal, man. And some of the WrestleMania songs, like Big Time by Peter Gabriel, that became one of my favorite songs. Like, man, they hit it out of the park with that music. It's so important.
So it goes for me. I mean, I'm only going to give 2, but I'll give my 5 when we do the watch along for Survivor Series. First one, My Way by Limp Bizkit for WrestleMania 17. No question.
Oh, yeah.
This is number 2. It would be number 1, but My Way makes WrestleMania 17.
Epic. Just epic, man. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't listen to that song and not think about WrestleMania 17. Like, that song will forever be tied to that event for me.
Just one more fucking... So then Vince is backstage, and Howard Finkel says, it's been an honor to work for you, Vince, and one hell of a ride. Vince says the WWF will be successful and stay in business, and then tells Howard to not touch him ever again.
It was great seeing Fink, and of course, Vince has to be a bully, you know, but I love Howard Finkel, man. What a great dude.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy, it is time for the main event before Survivor Series, the last main event on SmackDown before Survivor Series. It is Stone Cold and Kurt Angle versus The Rock and Chris Jericho. Austin and Rock brawl. Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. But as they're coming out, or before they're coming out, we see Austin and Angle. They're walking side by side in the back. And I love this because Austin tries to make Kurt carry his best, and Kurt pushes it back to him. Like he's like being like a little brother.
Wow.
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, man.
Yeah. Austin and The Rock brawl. Neck breaker by Rock. Rock counters a stunner. Chops to Austin. Lou Thesz press to Rock. Rock throws Angle into Jericho. Missile drop kick to Angle. Chops to Jericho. Crossbody to Austin by Y2J. Elbow to Austin. Jericho counters and Angle slam. Drop kick to Austin. German suplex to Jericho by Angle. Spine buster by Austin Jericho. Clothesline by Austin. Walls of Jericho to Austin, but Angle breaks it up. Clothesline by Angle. Ankle lock by Jericho. Belly to belly by Angle. Missile drop kick by Jericho. A breakdown to Austin. Tag to the Rock. Flying clothesline by the Rock. Rock misses. Rock hits Angle with a spine buster, and then a spine buster to Austin, and a sharpshooter to Angle by the Rock. And then we have Austin hits Rock with a chair and tosses Earl Hebner out, and then Earl rings the bell. Undertaker comes out. He choke slams Stone Cold. Kurt Angle gives the Angle slam to Undertaker. Chris Jericho then gives a lion salt to Booker T. RVD gives a 5-star frog splash to Y2J. A choke slam to RVD by Kane. Big Show punches the chair into Shane McMahon. An Angle slam to the Big Show. Rock bottom to Kurt Angle. And Austin gives a stunner to The Rock. All of the men, all 9 guys are down except for Stone Cold, who is standing tall in the ring. For this matchup, actually, I'm going to give it 3 stars, not only for the in-ring fighting, but for the massacre that took place afterwards. Every main eventer in this matchup got a shot in.
I went 3 out of 5 as well. I called it the parade of finishers.
Wow.
I knock it down a little bit just because of the DQ finish, but I like that both teams worked their asses off here. They hit big moves. The pace never slowed down. It was never boring. No rest spots. It was just action, 100% start to finish. Rock and Jericho looked great as a team, and they didn't have any issues here, which you would think going into it, there'll probably be something. Nope, they held off on that. They stuck together. Angle and Austin were a great team. I kind of wish we could see those two team up in a power trip kind of thing. I like that at the end, after all the finishers, you said Austin stands tall. He's smiling at Vince, and Vince is smiling back, and it's like, oh man, I like that. We still don't know what team's going to win. It is still up in the air. It's not there. There's no clear-cut winner here.
No, there is not. And like you said, Austin is standing tall. Out comes Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon smiles at Austin, and Austin returns the smile. So again, it's not even up in the air if Stone Cold's joined the WWF at Survivor Series as well.
Yeah, this could just all be a ruse, a red herring. It could just be mind games. That's great.
Yep. Well, that's going to do it from us here tonight covering our Raw and SmackDown coverage. But Jeremy, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to? But actually, before we get there, yes, Jeremy, I'm sorry. I always go right to that. But we're 3 days away from Survivor Series.
I was about to say we're heading to Greensboro, North Carolina, man.
Greensboro, North Carolina. Again, when Michael Cole, every time Michael Cole would say, we're just 3 days away, you got excited. I always got excited too.
Yeah, one thing I will always give Cole is he's good at hyping, whatever event's coming up. He's a good hype man.
Yeah. Especially like giving out the 3 days away. So call your local cable provider. Yeah. Oh, and again, it's not on DirecTV. The WWF and DirecTV were on strike with each other.
Stupid. Just both of them losing money. Why would you do that?
Yeah. So, Jeremy, that's going to do it from us with the wrestling coverage here. But do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
Absolutely. OCP Wrestling, we're deep into our season 2. Check us out at ocpwrestling.podbean.com. We just posted the 2000 Survivor Series deep dive. It went up today. So check that out, which it's great because I'm going to be covering the 2001 with you, and then I'm covering it myself as well. So it'll be interesting.
Nice.
We also have Bret Hart and WCW episode 14, along with Saturday night's main event, episode 13. And finally, we're covering WCW pay-per-views in 1995 this season instead of the Royal Rumble matches. We'll be back to that on season 3. But we covered WCW Slamboree 95. And let me tell you, some of these WCW pay-per-views were hard to get through in 1995. I'm like, holy crap, I forgot. I ordered some of them. And as a kid, I was like, yeah, this is great. As an adult, I'm sitting here watching going like, I got to watch the Nasty Boys wrestle every godforsaken pay-per-view. Holy crap. OCPWrestling.podbean.com.
Yep. I'll be sure to give a listen to on Survivor Series 2000 and The Undertaker wearing Godfather's pants.
Yeah, the ugliest pants.
Yes. As for me, you can mostly find me on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed. I have this podcast, and I also have on this feed Extreme Resurrection, where me and Steve Riddle, we are deep diving into ECW on Sci-Fi from 2006 to 2010. We are in April of 2008. We are coming off of Kane beating Chavo Guerrero at WrestleMania 24 for the ECW title. So he is now ECW champion. We're also getting into Colin Delaney trying to get a win for a contract on ECW as well. And we're also seeing if CM Punk will cash in on Kane for the ECW title. That and much more as we head into Backlash 2008, where we will get the rematch of Chavo Guerrero versus Kane for the ECW title. And on the Place to Be Nation Pop feed, I have a podcast called Pop Goes Degrassi on the Place to Be Nation Pop feed, where me and John Kesalico, we are deep diving into Degrassi Next Generation. We're on season 2, and our last episode that we hit was called I actually forgot the episode that it was called. My bad. But it had to deal with racism and Hazel, who is trying to cover up that she's Somalian. She says she's Jamaican, and one of her classmates gets called a terrorist for being a Muslim, and it just a bunch of coverage about how the school takes on racism in this episode of Degrassi Next Generation. So you can catch that on the Place to Be Nation Pop feed. Actually, it's called Don't Believe the Hype. So yeah, I forgot my own episode there. Well, I want to thank Jeremy Nichols for doing this here episode of Nation Invasion with me. Thank you, Jeremy.
Oh, always a pleasure, my friend. I'm looking forward to the Survivor Series.
Yep. Be prepared as we, the nation, end the invasion.